the epic of creation and a little bit in the epic of the fall. And I could ask you to look at another passage, but I think we'll move on to the patriarchs, which begins where? Where would we begin looking at the patriarchs? Okay, we know it's... Okay, who's the first patriarch? Abraham. Okay, Abraham. He's known as Abram at the time. So what chapter in Genesis? 12. Okay? So Genesis 12, all the way to the end of Genesis, is considered the age of the patriarchs, because we have the stories of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and then particularly Joseph of the 12 children, okay, the 12 sons. So, and then it ends. Okay? And then of course is the Exodus. So all of those chapters are the age of the patriarchs. If we were to look together, for example, at Genesis 22, a very common passage where God tells Abraham to sacrifice his son. I mentioned yesterday, I think, or the first day, Abraham would not have known that this would be a very strange request, because he doesn't have Scripture, he doesn't know much about God, and pagans did offer human sacrifices. So he just obeys in that way, but of course it's a difficult thing because it's his own son. And not only that, but what? Not only is it his own son, but what are the circumstances of Isaac's birth? And not only, I mean, how long did Abraham have to wait until? 25 years. So Abraham is 75 when God makes the promise, and his wife is maybe a bit younger, 65?
10 years.
Okay, 25 years. So Sarah, I think, is 90, he's 100, and the promise is fulfilled. So when God says, I want you to offer your son, your only son, whom you love. Now, does that sound familiar? Yes. Your only son, whom I love. So already we see that the language is repeated when God himself says, this is my son, whom I love. So you know that there's at least a resemblance, a connection. But at the very least, you could say, just as Abraham was giving up his only son that he loved, so does God, in giving his only son that he loves to let him die. Yes, of course he's going to be raised, but so would Isaac. But how painful that is for the father to do that. So at the very least, you already see a biblical connection with the idea of giving the son.